Better 3 hours too soon than a minute too late. If anyone in chat can tell me who said that, we'll be friends for life.
Dana.
So are we going to see the run back? It's once again between Cursed Hollow and Blackheart's Bay on the draft, and I have a feeling we're going to get a hat trick here. You are Canadian. You know all about them hat tricks and cocky, and that's exactly what's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. Cursed Hollow for the third time. This is they like playing on this map, man. These teams are comfortable with this map. Team Dignitas is going to have first ban. Are we going to see a Sergeant Hammer ban? I won't be. I think Fnatic's going to ban Sergeant Hammer here. That's what I think. Either Stitches or Sergeant Hammer, because that just tore them apart. There was nothing they could do about it. They had no response to that protect the Sergeant Hammer strategy, and Team Dignitas walked all over Fnatic.
So was it actually the protect the hammer comp, or was it the Rainer? Was it just the Stitches? I don't really feel like Hammer did anything like super impressive. Yeah, she got the numbers. She pushed the lanes. She did great positioning. But, I mean, nothing there really felt out of this world from the Hammer. So was the Hammer really the strength there?
I think it was just the composition as a whole was all built around the Hammer, but they worked around the Hammer as well. The Rainer supplemented the Hammer supplemented the Rainer. They're both kind of these long-ranged siege type of heroes that they both have knockbacks. You have Rainer's knockback, who he can get up to 3 if he lands all of them, and obviously the double healing composition with the cleanse. Just everything like that synergized so well together. It was just turned into this big, the sums were greater than the power was greater than the sum of their parts together. I guess if you can throw that Milli Vanilli kind of together, and it worked out really well for him, man. And I felt like if you take the Sergeant Hammer out of the equation of that composition, that the strength simply isn't there. Maybe you can supplement it with a Zagara. Maybe you can supplement it with another like long range siege hero. But no, they are going to ban the Sergeant Hammer. They don't want any shenanigans from that hero right there, and I agree with that decision.
Shane Gucci, the psychic. Man, I should bring you over to the lotto system here in Canada. But Illidan and Sergeant Hammer will be your bans. So what are we going to see from these teams? Probably a mishmash of Stitches, ETC, Vala, Nazeebo, Zagaras. I mean, there's a lot of other big heroes that you can really protect comps around. But Sergeant Hammer and Illidan, the polarizing are out. First pick was the Vala, into the Stitches to Ronda. Fnatic's going to be taking that away from the Dignitas. And I keep harping on this, but I really think, Cursed Hollow does lead a lot of credence to Zeratul. Will we see one? Not sure, but it's definitely still an option.
He's definitely a more late game based hero. His early game is very underwhelming, but once he hits level 13, 16, and 20, he's a beast. He's an absolute beast. He's hard to deal with. His Void Prisons can just be completely game-changing once you get those respawn timers of 45 seconds plus around the 12, 15-minute mark. And I won't be surprised to see it. But when you pick a Zeratul, you have to play to the late game. And obviously, you can punish Zeratul picks by putting a lot of early game aggression on. And with Fnatic picking up a Tyron Stitches, I think we finally might be seeing a big pick-off composition coming out here, because that hook into Lunar Flare is so deadly. We see North American teams pull it off so very well all the time, and it's had a lot of proven success over here in North America. I haven't really seen as much of it over here in Europe. Yes, we've seen Diablo Tyron a couple times, but we haven't seen the Stitches Tyron. It's a very deadly combination. It's very effective, and I'm interested to see how Fnatic builds their strategy and their draft around these two picks.
Uther Rhaegar, man. Holy.
Yep.
Dignitas. Bringing the heels. We've seen Tyrande bans. We've seen Uther bans. This is the first time we're actually getting all 3 of those supports in the same game, I think. So, I said, there's a lot of other ways that you can fill that back end, and Zagara and Tychus were definitely on the list, and Fnatic are just saying, we're good with that. Yep, we're totally good with that. They just need to get themselves a pretty fancy schmancy hero by the end of it, and unless Team Dignitas wants to go trip, it's probably going to be a Malfurion.
Yeah. I agree. The Brightwing's available too, but they don't have an ETC. They have a Stitches. I would say Brightwing, lean towards Brightwing if they wanted to do like a global presence composition, but obviously they don't have an ETC. That's not really going to be the scenario. Team Dignitas looking at, they need themselves a frontline warrior. ETC is available. Diablo is available as well. Though I feel like picking a Diablo here for Team Dignitas would be a little bit counterintuitive with the fact that they have to go against a Tyron with the damage amplification. And Diablo is a big, heavy commit hero. He has reliable initiation and dive, but once he does use his skill set to initiate into a team fight, If he gets stunned out and Hunter's marked by a Tehran, he just melts. There is an Ancestral Healing to fall back on, but I feel like either a ETC or even a Chen would be a go-to warrior pickup here for Dignitas. And are they going to get a double warrior healer, double warrior, double healer? No, they're going with a Falstaff, which is a hero we saw them pick yesterday. And Nurek ran it with great success. He basically did a right-click build, and that was backed up with the hammer throw build. So the extended range at level 1, at level 13 he gets, or at level 7 he gets not the bomb hammer, but the one where whenever his hammer is out, he does increased damage on his right click. You do that, you synergize with that a late game Nexus Frenzy, and the right click from Falstaff can actually be really, really significant. And it's interesting to see that they're going to that once again.
So yesterday it was power throw into Vampiric.
Yes.
Secret weapon is what you're looking for. 80% extra damage when the hammer's in play.
Yes.
The Hinterland's Blast, and then at 13 it was Giant Killer, I believe. And then 16 was if you throw out the hammer, you stun somebody with your auto attacks. So
correct.
And then, of course, you said the Nexus Frenzy. So we saw this yesterday from Nurok. It was a very interesting build, and by the end of it, the team comp did win. I'm not entirely too sure I'll put it on the Falstead shoulders, but, you know, it gives them a little bit of global map presence. We don't know. Well, okay, we should actually know. We're not going to be seeing an ETC here from Fnatic. So this should be the only global presence unless Fnatic opts to go for a Brightwing. And then we're going a little bit more old school.
Yeah.
But with that build, I mean, yeah, it's a big, heavy emphasis on single target. And when you throw out that hammer with the power throw and the secret weapon, and I can't remember the 16 off the top of my head, but you get about 4 empowered auto attacks that are now slowing opponents by the end of it.
It's a huge amount of damage. It actually scales really, really well. And I tried out the build immediately after that game. Not to say that I'm as good as Nero.
And you didn't invite me? How dare you?
But, well, I had to take a nap, and you know, it's just a whole bunch of things. It's crazy. It's crazy. So there's going to be that Malfurion, and I feel like the Malfurion was the go-to healing support there, just because you have a Tyron Stitches, you hook someone, you Lunar Flare, you root them. And that's pretty much the name of the game when you get those 3 together. Looking at Fnatic's composition, it looks like it's a displacement and pick-off composition. So they're going to get hooks into Lunar Flares on Stitches, take someone out of the team fight. And the moment that happens, Zagara looks for a Maw to take a key hero out of the fight, whether it's the Vala, the Uther, the Rhaegar. Any of them really are going to be really important to take out. Specifically, though, I feel like the Rhaegar is going to be a big one to get in those Maws. Take away the Ancestral Healing, enable them to pick off a hero with that hook into Lunar Flare. And if they're able to pull that off successfully and reliably, they definitely can get themselves ahead in this series. And it's going to be interesting to see, though, because Team Dignitas, they played their early game is a little bit underwhelming, but once they hit that mid game, late game, man, they take off as a team.
All right, so those are your comps, ladies and gentlemen. The players are filtering into the lobby, and we're going to have to see once more if Narok's stranger build on this Falstead will come to be something of the meta. Of course, you know, we do have patch on Tuesday. Next Gosu Cup, the next Enter the Storm, qualifier number 3, will be on the Sylvanas patch. We're going to have new map hype, new heroes, and new balance. The meta could go any way. So do just take a moment here to appreciate what you're about to see here from Nirok. And once again, the build, you're looking at Power Throw, Vampiric, Hammer Time, Secret Weapon, Hinterland's Blast, Giant Killer, Hammer Time is the name of the 16 talent, and then Nexus Frenzy. It's a really interesting auto attack build that does not rely on seasoned marksman, does not rely on ability power, and with a proper team that can, you know, peel, get those CCs off, you can really do some really interesting single target damage. So we're gonna have to see if that pays off for them or if it's gonna be the Fnatic squad. In terms of going back and forth, I think Fnatic definitely has a little bit more of an AoE advantage. You mentioned it a little bit before with the Maws. Tychuses with overkills. We got the Biles, the Starfalls, and the Roots. I mean, the Roots are going to be massive in some of these tight chokeholds, right? We saw this before. Game number 1, some of the most clutch Zagara ults that you've really ever seen coming out of Fnatic.
Yeah.
So I'm not really too sure which way this will go. This is what Dignitas won on yesterday against LDLC to get into the semis, but Fnatic has been playing really well on this map. And Dignitas last round with Protect the Hammer, they don't have it this round. So was that the key? I guess we're about to find out if they ever get into the lobby.
Shinobu played a great, I mean, the Maws he landed in game 1 were game-changing. I feel like he was actually the MVP of that first match because he was able to just disrupt the momentum of Dignitas. Anytime they got anything going for him in those team fights, Ahmad just completely put Dignitas on their back. And that was all on Shinobu's shoulders with great devouring maws. Not only was he getting multiple hero maws, but he was getting the key heroes, as I mentioned before, the Rhaegar or the Uther or the heroes that, if those are taken out of the fight for even a small period of time, just completely change the dynamic of the team fight. And I think we're going to see that again here, man. Especially again with Cursed Hollow, it lends itself to that sort of strategy because it has nothing. It has a whole bunch of bottlenecks. It forces teams to posture and position themselves inside of those bottlenecks. So once again, I think we're going to see static lanes coming out of Dignitas, though I won't be surprised if we see a little bit more early game aggression by Fnatic, especially since Dignitas' weakness has been shown. Their early game can be a little sketchy sometimes. And if Fnatic are able to capitalize on that weakness that they already have the draft up for it. If they play into it, then I think it'll work out really, really well for them. And it just this sort of composition where you go with a pick heavy composition, if you're able to get ahead, it really can snowball out of control and out of control quickly. So I'd like to see that out of Fnatic. Don't be quite as static and stagnated in the lanes in the early game. Maybe do a couple light rotations with the Stitches into wherever the lane Tyrande is, or put yourself in a strong lane, the tri-lane, party lane composition, and get pickoffs there. Either way, I feel like they have the potential, and they really need to play into that potential that they have.
All right, all the players are here. They are starting to pick their heroes ready up, and we're giving them the go-ahead here for game number 3. Some of the best play I've ever seen on Zeratul has come out of Europe, and I'm a little sad that we are not seeing any Zeratuls here today. But we still got finals after this, Mr. Shane Gucher,
Yes.
so not giving up hope. Although 6 games in a row of Cursed Hollow might be even a little bit much for this Canadian. But
the Cursed Hollow of the Storm.
Cursed Hollow, yeah. The Curse of the Storm. Oh, my goodness. But, going back to the point of, this week we do have a patch. We do have a meta mix-up. New map, new hero coming in. Next weekend, I mean, we're still here. Next Saturday, 9 a.m. Eastern on our side of the ocean, 2 p.m. CET. You guys, 1400. Same time, same place. We will resume. Enter the cup with qualifier number 3, which means you should look to sign up, get yourself a team, have some great competitive experience because, who knows? You could get to the finals, you could get into the grands. Top 3, that take home cash and prizes, and you're not going to be losing out anything. In fact, you will be that much better at the game because of your newfound competitive experience. So, hopefully, we will see you guys next weekend as well with Sylvanas Hype. And for now, we're going to find out who's going to grands. And why do we have a remake call?
I think
Sailless went hammer.
Yes. Whoopsie.
That's really funny.
Well, remake real quick, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll get back into this. That Stars and Hammer pickup.
That's supposed to be Valor,
they were so ready to pick it, man. They were so ready to pick that hammer. Nope, got banned out.
Oh, it kicked me out of the entire game.
We'll get back into the match here. Yeah, whenever you're inside of a custom game, you can't exit back into the lobby. You have to go right back outside of the game. Blizzard, feedback, fix it, please. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen, because this is going to be a momentary delay. The game is going to be remade in no time flat.
Oh no, the game you were still in is in progress. Oh no.
Stand by. There we go. I see you in menus. You look good.
You say that.
Here, try relogging. I'm pretty sure that will fix it.
Yeah. Might have to just do some scene dancing here.
Yes.
Is it actually? It's rejoining me actually the same game. And nope, now it's.
How we doing?
Server's 30 seconds ahead. 15, 8, 4. Red team wins. Yes.
Haha! Congratulations to the red team. You will be moving on.
Whoever
to nowhere because that match didn't count.
Okay, so yeah, that's not so bad. Where is Chris? Waiting for. I don't want to wait for the game results. I just want to join the game. All right. Once we get back into this, all right, there we go. Chris is now back in. All right, we will have a game. When players don't pick hammer and pick the banned heroes that they didn't.
They were so ready to pick that hammer, man. Like hammer, let's go.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That was too funny.
Okay, lobby is up.
Yeah, we're good. Phew, I was watching the ESL majors the other day, and they got into this infinite rejoin bug. So I was really, really concerned that we were about to hit that, but we didn't. We did it, boys. We avoided it, and we're good. So, a few more minutes, and we'll have a game.
Cursed Hollow for the 4th time. The game number 4. So we're going into your Sean game? No, I'm just kidding. You use the Dark Dignitas powers to go through the bands. Quote level 2015. Teach me the way of the dark arts. Is that just using like neutral colors and
Sailless is now Voldemort.
He who shan't be named.
Avoiding the banner, the hammer pin. Watching this 2 minutes later is absolutely enjoyable.
Okay.
I
Sailless.
think we're okay this time. Yeah, he's going.
Okay, there's the Vala. Hooray, we did it.
Vala this time. Thank God. All right, so no protect the hammer comps is protect the Vala. Well, not even. They got the Falstead on the back of that. Who knows? You know, Falstead next patch might even get some love. And all of a sudden, Narak will be this god. Who knows? But yeah, 10 out of 10. We're going to be jumping right back onto this point. Third game in a row, ladies and gentlemen, because it's 3 for 3 on the Cursed Hollow. We're tied up 1-1, and we're now going to the finals. Well, the last game of the semis, and then after that, we're going to the finals.
Yes.
But yeah, let's get that energy back. Let's get that energy going.
Got a little bit of a delay there, ladies and gentlemen, but we're just building up the tension. This is all the plan. This is to build up the tension, get the hype going, get the hype juice flowing, get going for this, guys, because this is going to be a great match between these two teams. Where it's not, like I said, I don't think it's going to be quite as stale. There's definitely the potential that it might be a little stale in the beginning, but I feel like that Fnatic are going to be switching it up, and just through their draft with the Stitches and the Tyron, they have a lot of potential for early game aggression. And as I mentioned, Dignitas' weakness has been their early game aggression. If Fnatic just capitalize on that, it will pay off so very well for him. Now, Chen, he's pretty much a free lane, right? It's really hard to gank him. He can sit and soak and take up so much damage, especially with the build that we've been seeing with the Regen Master and the further regen that he gets at level 4 and at level 7, the dodge he gets at level 4. He's really hard to kill, but other than that, he really doesn't contribute much other than being guaranteed a lane to soak. But the gates are down. Game number 3 between Team Dignitas and Fnatic is underway. This is the semifinals, and whoever wins this game is going to be getting into the finals, get themselves into the qualifier for that big prize pool, man. And I'm looking forward to see how these lanes take shape.
So it looked like we were going to be 3 for 3 party lane into the top. I mean, we got Sailless, Narak, and Chris up there here from Team Dignitas because they are once again on the blue side. Link's going to be holding down the mid and Blood Dragon into the bottom. But Fnatic is not really entirely too sure where they wanted to go. There's a little bit of extra roaming going on. But once more, will be Shinobu, Ace of Spades, and Kessel into that top. It will be the 3v3 up there. Fred's going to be holding down mid up against Link, and that will leave us with Lowell in the bottom up against the Panda. I suspect the Stitches and Panda will probably change lanes, but as of now, looks like that's what they're stuck with.
So it looks like no early game aggression. Sad face indeed. Coming on the side of Fnatic, they're put Stitches in the mid lane versus Rhaegar, and they're going to do this party lane once again. And it's just, oh man, this is such a strong lane they have going for him, man. The Falstad has decent wave clear, though he's got to be really careful about those Hydralisks, though, because they do so much damage on the Vala and both the Falstad. And right now, it looks like it's pretty even. Everyone's pretty topped off pretty well, and no one is really pushing into the gates quite yet.
Blood Dragon's doing actually a really good job up against Lowell into the bottom, which is why I suspect that Fnatic should actually swap out the mid and the bottom lane, because Tychus just doesn't really have the kit to deal with Blood Dragon. You know, he has a grenade, and well, that's about it. I mean, there's nothing else that really you can do. At least Stitches can sustain a bit more, you know, use out the toxic gas, the cleavers and all that. So, yeah, if they don't, I mean, all right, well, we're probably to see a tower go down on the side of Fnatic as Dignitas keeps pushing in, but where did the Falstad go? The Falstad is actually going to rotate into the mid, and, you know, it's that timing. It's 2 minutes. It's time for Rhaegar to go get himself some easy ogres.
And that's one of the strengths to Rhaegar. He actually can solo siege camps very early on. Very few heroes can do that. Illidan can solo bruiser camps around level 7 once he gets first hit immolation at level 4, but obviously there's no Illidan in play here. And that's one of the heroes that can do that. And it's something they didn't do in the first game. Their first game didn't go well for them. They did it in the second game. Second game went well for them. And this really puts a lot of, oh man. So, look at the rotation from Fnatic. That is some great adaptability. They're great game sense. And now they're gonna steal this camp off.
They totally knew. They knew. We had the Farsight going out, and Link said, uh-oh, they're coming. And are they actually going to get this? Narak's going to fly in. We got Sailless in the back. It's not going to be a steal. It will actually go over to the way of Dignitas. And now Ace of Spades is so slow this early on, especially with that Earth Grasp. And that's first blood. That is our quickest first blood in 3 games between these teams.
Excellent. I hope that keeps up. Keep doing that, teams. This is going to be the first tribute going the way of Dignitas, so well done by them, because they noticed it was the owl from Tyrande that gave away the fact that Rhaegar was doing the siege camp, and they probably had their suspicions as Rhaegar was missing. It was the 2-minute mark. The first tribute was about to spawn. It confirmed it. They made what looked like a real smart rotation, but Dignitas was quick on their heels to respond. They got themselves an experience advantage. They got themselves first blood, and now they have siege ogres pushing down top lane.
It's coming up Dignitas so far.
It's
almost coming up Rosie, is what I want to say. It's coming up Dignitas, and they have abandoned the top. They said, all right, not worth our time. Lowell is actually going to be now up here, up against Salus, and not exactly the strongest of positions there for Lowell, because he didn't come up here with that much hit points, but the lane swap that I was expecting didn't happen, but it is a lane swap nonetheless. Shinobu and Kessel, Ace of Spades, they're down here. They're already taking a tower.
They're a little bit slow, though, because the towers up north are going to be going down, both of them. Salus has got to be careful. Lowell does have first aid. Oh man, Salus, you don't dive underneath there. Okay, barely able to live. That would have been a great kill for them to get, but half a level advantage. They have the first tribute. The second tribute spawning in quite possibly the best position that they wanted to, as they just got the bruiser camp. And Fnatic just are trying to push down bottom lane, get some towers, make up ground in the experience department. But while they were pushing bottom, top got pushed out too, so it's still even for towers. The experience, though, is slowly starting to narrow a little bit, still in the favor of Dignitas.
That's going to be the hook there on top of Chris from Freds, but Freds is not looking so hot with the hit points. He is going to get really low there from Narak, but the rest of the heals is now going to come in. Owls will stop out once more this tribute. Now, Freds does not have another hook, and I don't think we have anything in the back. No, the Moonfire missed from the Malfurion, and that will be now 2 quick tributes into the pockets now of Dignitas. So level 9, next tribute will be level 10 for them, and they have themselves a pretty solid half-level lead over top of Fnatic.
Looking great, man. They have 2 tributes. They're going to get their heroics. They can really roam across the map and do an aggressive rotation if they feel so, or they can just sit in the lanes and continue to push their advantage. Which, with a fall stat, that's something that they can absolutely do, and they're capitalizing on it appropriately. Blood Dragon doing what Shin does in the early game, and that's just sit in the lane, don't do anything else. Just sit in the lane, get experience. Not much you can do until you hit level 10. Fnatic is taking advantage of this, though. They know that's their weakest lane. That's definitely the weakest link they have in the lane configuration, and they took advantage of it, got these towers. Now bottom fort is open to getting taken out if any sort of team fight goes their way.
But it's level 10. Dignitas has their heroics. And, you know, we talked about this Narak build a little bit. He's actually altered it.
He went Gathering Power? Okay.
He did go Gathering Power. It's not Vampiric today. I guess he said that the Vampiric in this comp with the Uther and the Rhaegar, it's enough. He doesn't need to sustain for himself. So he does have a little bit more bark to his bite, so to speak. And he does have the hint on his blast ready to go. But there's, you know what? Narak is actually making a big fool of us today. It's like, no, that build sucks. He went Boomerang. He's actually really standard right now.
He's going with the traditional false set.
Yeah.
So we're probably going to see in level 16 overdrive, and level 20 we might see the increased Hinterland's blast. A good hook onto Linked, and he's going to have to do that treachery healing. There is the Hinterland's blast, but it looks like the Chen barrel actually knocked them out of the range of it. The curse does go the way of Dignitas, though, so they got themselves a kill, they got themselves a curse. They're going to get themselves a boss here, and once again, they're now in the mid game. It looks like they have really tightened their early game here, Sean, because their early game has always been their weakness, but now they're ahead going into the mid game. They're going to have a curse, they're going to have a boss, and they're in great position to get into the place where they love being, and that's the mid to late game.
Oh man, the roots just came way too late. Freds with the hook, but the roots do miss. And that's actually not going to be an interrupt here on top of this boss. We have nothing to get on there except the mob, but the mob misses. Blood Dragon does not go into it. And now during this curse, we're going to have a boss pushing out to the top. Bottom lane, look at that creep wave. All those archers just starting to take away the hit points of those structures. And this fort very likely to be dropping to this boss. And now that one boss is done, we push it in the mid. We're going to get rid of that gate. And you can see the beeline down to the second boss here as well. This is a full game that's in control of Dignitas right now.
They are looking great. With this second boss being picked up, their own boss for the bottom lane, it's going to have a free ticket to the tier 2 towers. And, I mean, if they continue to push their advantage to level 13, they could definitely get some tier 2 towers out of this, potentially steal the siege ogres of Fnatic if they want to make one of these early, or I'm sorry, not these early, but one of these aggressive rotations like that. They have the map presence to do it with a false set. If the false set wants to go into another lane, soak that lane while they push, force a rotation out of Fnatic, and then respond appropriately, they can do that, and it looks like that's what they're going to do.
Barrel.
Sin is actually using the barrel. Oh no, a complete whiff on Chris right there. The mighty gust wasn't coming from false side, it was coming from the whiff on Chris. But they are able to get the kill onto Tychus nonetheless with the butt bite on the Rhaegar. And they're looking great right now, man.
Man, Rhaegar coming in at the end of that with the Feral Lunge sealed the deal, but I mean, Blood Dragon keeping low in position, body blocking between the buildings, and yeah, sure, Chris, maybe not the best Divine Storm we've ever seen, but still, that Blood Dragon play was really on point. They get themselves the kill, they're up 14-12. There's 2 levels between these teams, Shane Gucci. This is looking very reminiscent of game number 2.
Dignitas are playing so very well, and Fnatic, I feel like they suffered the curse of being too conservative. They got a hook onto Blood Dragon. This might be a little bit overzealous for him. There's a Rain of Vengeance on Celas, but unfortunately that's not going to do much. It was a zoning Rain of Vengeance. They weren't looking for any kills there. This is going to sound the horns of retreat for Dignitas. They got tier 2 towers out of it. They were able to get the Siege Ogres as predicted, and they actually aren't going to clean it up. Might get a fountain or some secondary damage onto the keep, but level 13 advantage. They're going to have a level 16 advantage by the time that the next tributes are spawning up, and they're just going to fall back to the mercenary camps, put more pressure on the map, look for pickoffs, business as usual. Business
as usual, and yeah, right now business is good because Dignitas, they are in a fantastic position. As we said, they're about to hit 15. It's very likely to see 16 by tribute. They started painting the map blue. They got these new bruisers. They took the opponent's bruisers. They took the opponent's golem. They have their own golem. Now they're also going to get those easies. So a lot of pressure is on Fnatic. They are not able to really move out. And wow, that tribute actually came up much quicker than I think we gave it credit for. But I mean, Fnatic, if they go to fight this, they're going to lose out on lane pressure. They're going to get pushed in. They could possibly even start losing out in terms of the keep gates, in terms of this mid fort. But if they don't come to do this, then they're going to lose out on a tribute. It's a really good split for Dignitas.
It's looking real great for him. Ace of Spades is trying to spam that Moonfire, just like in World of Warcraft. Now we see it here, and here's the storm. But the tribute going to go the way of Fnatic nonetheless. I'm sorry, not Fnatic, going the way of Dignitas. And I feel like we might see a moment of passivity out of these teams, because there's not much for them to do as far as aggressive rotations. There is a bruiser camp to be had, though Dignitas is pushing out the top lane, meanwhile pushing out mid lane. This is going to be the last out lane port. So Fnatic is going to have very little map awareness once this goes down, and I'm soon to be asphyxiated inside the base. But that's what they were looking for. But the Ancestral Healing is completely going to negate the hook into Lunar Flare. Though, with that being said, hook and Lunar Flare is a 16-second cooldown. Ancestral Healing is a 60-second cooldown. So that's definitely was an even exchange for them. Even though it was a small one, it still is something that might pay off for them here for the next tribute being spawned at the top lane.
But is there going to be pressure on top of this bruiser? Look at this. They're not going to go in from the left. Actually, we're not going in at all. We're going from the wall.
Oh, man.
Absolutely demolished. Tychus is not going to live through that one. Yeah, so congratulations, Freds. You got yourself the bruisers. It looks like he will live to see another day, though. But 2 of them going to be caught up here. And Linked, Nirok, they're going to be able to just DPS him down, no problem. Nirok is going to fly over to grab the tribute. All right, a little bit unnecessary, at least in my eyes. Ace is trying to do his best split pushing, but he's not exactly built for it. And yeah, not entirely too confident in this late game from Fnatic right now. It's 4 kills nil, and they're down a talent tier.
Yeah, Fnatic felt like they were just not on the same page there. I feel like Lowell got caught out of position because he assumed, and you all know what happens when you assume, he assumed that Dignitas was going to fall back to the tribute and get that, so he was like, okay, well, this is going to allow me to push out top lane, and that was not the case. So Dignitas with a smart rotation, able to get the kill on the Lowell, and once again, they're in a great position. There's a hook on the Link, there's the Ancestral Healing, but the body blocks are absolutely real. Can Dignitas get here in time to save their team member? They can't. A lot of heroics being expended to do so. So no one going down, but once again, Ancestral Healing had to be used. 3 heroics on the side of Dignitas being used, Tranquility and Putrid Bile, as well as the Starfall on cooldown as well. Once again, that's going to favor Dignitas through and through. This tribute spawn is going to give the second curse of the match to Fnatic, and this is going to put even more pressure on the map. They are rotating up to this boss, and they're in great position to potentially steal Fnatic's boss right here, Sean.
Whew. Well, Curse is not doing Fnatic any kind of favors right now. They still don't want to fight. They need 16. Problem is, they don't really have a lot of recourse. I'm not entirely too sure this creep wave will actually give them 16. It'll be close. And passive default gain, like per second, is not doing them any favors either. They still don't have the talents. And they are likely not to engage until they get it. They're going to try to poke and soak, and Chris is actually going to get off a huge stun right there. Blood Dragon jumps in. There goes the Malfurion. We do have the 16 now. The laser is actually on the boss. It killed the boss for Dignitas.
Oh, no!
And there it goes. There's the boss. We're on the curse. We're down a Malfurion. And once again, this is just looking worse and worse for Fnatic.
Blood Dragon is the barrel is what enabled them to get that pickoff onto the Ace of Spades, turn him in more into a Joker card, and they are going to push this top lane definitely and going to get this keep. Though Ace of Spades will be up here in about 10 seconds. Hinterland Blast is up, Rain of Vengeance is up, so they still have to be careful with their positioning. They can't be a little too far forward. They might just maybe try to sink a fishing hook here. Fred got a good hook off onto Salus's ball up, but the Lunar Flare from Kessel was unfortunately just a little bit too early and didn't land. If it did land, it probably would have been a dead ball. The keep would have gone down nonetheless, but at least it would have given Fnatic a little bit more breathing room in the situation. But Dignitas are well on their way to level 20, a big level 20 advantage. And you said it, Sean, and I'll repeat it. Feels like a repeat of game number 2.
It really does. Yeah, 18-16 now. We do got those talent tiers in that mid fight for Fnatic, and just taking a quick look. You know, again, like everything looks reasonably standard. I mean, we have the double blood for blood. We do have an imposing presence there on the Uther for Dignitas, which is going to be, you know, playing havoc there with the Tychus, with that Zagara. And well, the hook will actually hit. There's the timing that you're looking for.
There
and down goes the Uther, but Blood Dragon is going to come up here. He's going to split this team apart. Do we actually have the stun ready to go? From Uther, looks like he actually just used it, but didn't really seem to actually have too much of an effect. Laser's gonna drop. There goes the Maw as well, but they're not really in conjunction with each other. Blood Dragon's gonna get that Ancestral. Looks like he's gonna be okay, at least for the time being. He's gonna try to jump his way to freedom, but I'm not entirely confident he can outrun the entire enemy team. So 1 kill, possibly 2 coming up as Blood Dragon looks like he will not be pursued past this fort. In fact, it's going to be Fnatic going for the boss instead. But 1 kill for them puts them a little bit more, you know, bounce in their step. But can they actually take this boss?
Uther's up in 10 seconds, and it looks like Dignitas are actually looking to defend 4v5. They're feeling good. They're looking for an initiation. None of their cooldowns are up. Every single heroic is on cooldown right now, with the exception of Future Prowler. Here we go. Nurek is caught out with the roots. The Lunar Flare hit, but there is no follow-up. Fred and Blood are just hitting each other. A cook onto Linked, and Stretch Your Healing is on cooldown, and Vala is gonna go down. This might be a little bit too aggressive of a play for Dignitas. Though no one has still got the boss, Blood Dragon's gonna go down. That's gonna secure the boss finally for Fnatic, and Fnatic are going to get their first tribute of the match. Even though that definitely favored Fnatic heavily, Dignitas are still in a great position because all of their forts are still alive. They're still ahead by a little less than a 1 entire level. Mid lane was pushing out this whole entire time. Now mid keep is under fire, forcing a response from Lowell. And even though that's pretty much the only misstep Dignitas has made, they're still in a great position and still absolutely are going to get themselves a really good late game advantage.
Well, the boss is pushing in at 16 minutes. I mean, we saw the power of a 16-minute boss on top of a core. It can really do its damage. This is for sure the gate keep. The keep gate, I should say. Possibly even the keep. I mean, if Fnatic is going to 5-man push this in, we're still 8 seconds away from a barrel from that Chen coming in, and the boss is just going to go straight into it. But Fnatic, they're not super confident on this fight. So they're going to back off. They're going to play it a little bit more safe. And we have been seeing, as I said, a lot of conservative play this weekend. So it shouldn't really give us too much of a surprise. But, I mean, that will put us basically parity on par with the experience. So that's really good for Fnatic.
It is, man. That Dignitas was just simply too overzealous right there at the boss, man. And everything, all the work that they have done to get themselves into the position that they were in was completely thrown away right there with that rotation. It was a 4v5 situation. They didn't have any big talent advantages. It's not like they were 20 and they weren't. They were behind. I mean, the position was definitely in the favor of Fnatic. I mean, I felt like they simply just were a little bit too cocky there, and their hubris, unfortunately, got punished. And now we're back to square one. There's another tribute spawning here. This isn't a big pivotal tribute by any means, as it either is going to give Fnatic a second one, or the Dignitas is going to get their 7th tribute of the match so far. But with this even experience, this is anyone's match.
Oh no! I really expected Chris to actually just walk in front of that, or Blood Dragon. Both of them are right there, but they put it on top of Nirac. It looks like he will not drop for it. In fact, he will pick up that tribute. That puts it into the pocket now of Dignitas. Laser going down. The Starfall is there. Chris is going to get hooked this round. Blood Dragon walks right into the roots, and that's it for the Uther. Once more, the combo is enough to bring him down.
Fnatic's late game is looking good here, and unfortunately, Dignitas can't say the same for them. Now Fnatic are definitely in a very great position here. They are going to get the boss. They have to send someone to respond to these siege ogres and catapult top lane, or else the core might start taking some fall damage. Bottom lane is pushing in for them as well, though. That bottom keep is already at about half HP, and they might be able to get a keep here if Dignitas does not respond appropriately. Yeah, their core is under fire right now. They're going to fall back to that. It'll take some shield damage, but I don't think it'll take any hull damage. And this is a great position for Fnatic. But at the same time, level 20 is here for both of these teams at the same time. I still feel like it's anyone's game, barring any sort of disconnects or big throws.
You went very Star Trek right there.
Excellent.
they're going to take shield damage, but no hull damage. I love it.
Oh, dude, that's where I get it from, man. Gotcha. Shields are down.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
No, I got you, Mr. Shane. Oh, the hook.
Oh. Close.
So close. Blood Dragon felt that one go by his ear. But, you know, both sides have now cleaned up the Merc pressure. We got a boss now pushing down top. Lynx is the only one up there. I mean, as you said, we still have all the forts ready to go from Dignitas. So they still got this big buffer. Well, you know, maybe not so much. They lost out the bottom. Now they're about to lose at the top. So the only buffer left is here into the mid. But both teams now have level 20. So the race is over. It's basically a tie. And next tribute, you know, if Fnatic can get the positioning, they can continue on with these amazing Fred hooks into the stuns and the roots. I mean, you take an Uther out of this game, and that is going to be a curse for Fnatic, and they could do some amazing damage at 20 minutes in.
Chen is trying to figure out what he wants to get at level 20. He has a couple options available
Barrow
to
or
him.
Bolt, I think, are basically the two.
Yeah, and this tribute right here, if Fnatic are able to get this tribute, that's going to bust this game absolutely wide open and actually might enable them to win this game. They have to be careful about the lanes, and they have been. Bottom lane is pushed in their favor. Top lane is a little on the side of Fnatic, but nothing that's going to be pressuring their core anytime soon. There's a hook on a Blood Dragon. They got to be careful about the counter initiation, and there it is. The Chanded Barrel being used, zoning out Ace of Spades, having to use Storm Shield, but he is way out of position. The Devari Maw completely whiffed a 4-man Divine Hurricane, but Chris just completely torn away from the rest of his team. Can they get a return call on the Ace of Spades? They need it. Are they going to get it? The Shock and Awe simply aren't able to get him with a follow-up right there from the Chin. But now Blood Dragon is on the retreat. The artillery from that laser. Look at the range on that thing. It's absolutely ridiculous. A 1-for-1 exchange. A lot of heroics being expended there. The tribute is still up for anyone to get. There is a hook. Salas able to bolt away to safety though.
Yeah, the bolt was very key right there from Salas. Otherwise, you know, the CC combo would have come into effect and probably wouldn't have lived through it. Blood Dragon, he's going to try to just delay as much as he can. That's going to be the Rhaegar Ancestral on top of the Panda as well. But, you know, that's done for. He's going to jump forward, going in with that fight butt. But still, right now, it's still Fnatic running. But I'm not entirely too sure. Dignitas should be chasing. There goes the Chen. He was a little low. We had basically all the mana from Linked already out, and you know, it's low hit points from both sides, but I still don't think Dignitas can take this.
They need to be careful here because, okay, they get a call in the Stitches. That's okay. That's a 1-for-1 exchange. That's okay. That isn't going to be game changing or anything like that. But this is going to be a curse for Fnatic. The boss is open to be taken away from Dignitas if they so choose. It's a 3v4 situation right now. Nurk has to be careful. If any more people get picked off, that might be just the end of the game for Fnatic.
Now Furion's up. They're coming back. These big heroes. Oh, Ace got knocked off his mount. That's actually going to pay really bad dividends for the positioning game, but there's no hard engage here from Dignitas. This is turning into one of the longest fights. Lasers up again!
Good lord.
One of the longest fights we've seen at the 20-minute mark. And I mean, as I said, is this a laser or is this a siege tank? Because that range is, like, I can barely get it at the very zoomed out, at the very max zoom. You can just get that bubble. Look at that beauty right there. And as I said, I don't think Fnatic, or I don't think Dignitas had what was in that. They weren't going to get it, and Fnatic did. And
yeah,
this is now up to them to make the best use of this, because if they don't get big damage on this curse, well, I don't think they're going to get another chance for another one.
They're going to fight at this boss here, though they're down a laser, and that's a really pivotal heroic that they need. Anytime they want to dictate the position of the enemy team, if you can throw a laser down, you better believe that they're going to have to respond to that, or they're just going to get melted away. With that being on cooldown, though, this is going to now allow Dignitas to play a little bit more freely. And, I mean, we're seeing some posturing here, but are we going to see Shinobu with a Maw? There's a hook on a Chris. Oh, my lord, they're going to get Uther. There's the Divine Storm, but he does go down. There's the Maw on top of the point, but it looks like that Dignitas are able to pick it up anyway. Shock and Knot is going to land. Not much follow-up, so a little bit of damage is immediately going to get healed up by Tranquility. A lot of gas is being used by both of these teams, but right now both of the engines are up and running. It's been a 1-0 exchange, but with the boss being taken and a free lane to go right to that core, Fnatic have to respond to this. This is going to sound the horns of retreat for them, and this is going to allow Dignitas to roam around the map a little bit freely, despite the fact that they're down a hero for 30 seconds.
This actually might be game. I mean, Dignitas is going to be pushing in. We got that Golem pushing out 23 minutes in. Oh, he's going to get distracted. All right.
Oh, the tower.
All right, it's not going to be game. Already down to the half hit points. He hasn't even gotten to the core. Dignitas was thinking about trying to force that fight and trying to support this Golem, but yeah, it's not going to be the same position as we saw in game number 2, where I kind of really underestimated that late game Golem. So this Golem, absolutely useless. But you know what else was useless? That curse took home nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. That curse took nothing for Fnatic.
Fnatic looking like they're about to pick up their boss. Then they moved over. Now they're moving back. A little bit of a do-si-do action going on right here. And we're going to see that rotation inevitably from Dignitas to try to pick off the boss. Laser being used. And this is they can fight into this if they take away that laser, but the laser isn't on the boss this time.
Oh, it's on Chen.
It's on Chen, but Chen's just going to soak it up, man. He's going to drink his beer. He's going to get a little tipsy. Everybody in the club is getting tipsy when Chen's around. And now Dignitas have the better positioning. With the barrel up, I think this boss is going to go the way of Dignitas, and that might be the game if they get any sort of pickups. There's a Lunar Flare onto it, and Blood Dragon is just going to use the barrel to secure that. The Firing Maw is way too late, but if they have follow-up here, they can get kills. The follow-up isn't there, though. And this boss going the way of Dignitas, great game sense from them, knowing they have the Chen barrel at their disposal, and they used it appropriately. They got themselves a 24-minute boss, and this might be the Imperial March. Chris putting on his Nikes, going for a Divine Hurricane. There's a 3-man Divine Hurricane. There's a follow-up from Blood Dragon, jumping and a juking and a diving on in there. Lowell is dead to rights. Ace of Spades is dead to rights. And ladies and gentlemen, we might be seeing your first final qualifiers right here in Dignitas. They are looking great. The boss is going to be on top of the core. Fred is going to be going down, and that is the game absolutely in Dignitas' favor, Sean.
Took a little bit there to end it off, some really touch and go, but Fnatic with that late game curse, they just didn't get the damage that they needed to, and down that bottom keep, down just so much map pressure, they really didn't put up the fights that they really needed to at the